An alien recon team boards a seemingly derelict human warship. Their arrogance blinds them until they realize the silence isn't safety. "It's a warning. Nothing breathes," Commander Threxel said. His voice sliced the stillness. His mandibles clicked once, deliberate. The warship Dauntless drifted in deep space motionless, power low, hull scarred like old bone. Not a signal, not a pulse, just silence from the bridge of the Verexian flagship Kelterian. The crew studied the human relic with the same look they'd give a fossil, not even a thermal core online. They let it freeze. Primitive things. No drones, no shields, no AI. They died in the dark. Laughter rippled across the deck. Sharp, insectoid voices, cocky, unthreatened. Threxel didn't laugh. He leaned forward. Board it. "Bring me something amusing." The boarding team cut through the airlock with ease. Boots clanged onto rusting metal. Helmets panned side to side. "Weapons drawn but loose. Looks like a tomb," one scout said. Another chuckled. "No, tombs have honor." They walked the halls of the Dauntless like it was a zoo exhibit. Ancient oxygen tanks, manual levers, bullet casings. "Wait, what is this? Is that insulation foam?" "Stars, it is." They lined their walls with it. Laughter again. But quieter now, shorter. Then something buzzed. The corridor lights stuttered. One flicked on behind them. "Motion trigger," said the squad leader. "From who?" Another whispered. No answer. Just the buzz of dying systems. The hiss of their own breath. And then a sound wet, close. One scout turned fast. Shoulder light flaring across the hallway. "Did you?" "She." Again. Drip, drip. Metal on metal. In the galley, they found nothing living, but everything. Felt, staged. Food trays still on tables. Cups spilled. Chairs fallen, yet no bodies. "I don't like this," the youngest scout said. "Then don't think. Just record it." And one of them lifted a metal tray. Underneath, a child's drawing. Crayon lines. Bright, shaking hands. A stick figure family. A son. A dog. A home. And scribbled across it in blood or ink no one could tell. "Run, 'tis still." Here. For the first time, no one spoke. The lights buzzed. And somewhere down the corridor, a door hissed open on its own. Back on the Kelterian, Threxel watched through the helmet feeds. Eyes narrowed. "Commander," said a technician voice. Suddenly stiff. "We're losing contact with Echo 2. Another feed went static. Another followed. Then one stayed. For just a second, a shape passed behind a scout. Too fast. Too low. Not Verexian. Not human either. No heat signature. No M-trace. Just a shadow that moved like it knew the ship better than its creators. Threxel stood. Pull them out now. But it was already too late. The last transmission was a whisper, caught in a scout's mic as something tore through air. They weren't escaping. They sealed it in. And that was before Earth even responded. The stars didn't move. Not anymore. Lieutenant Maravos floated in silence above Earth's low orbit, eyes fixed on the blinking wreck of the Dauntless just beyond the dead line of Saturn's rings. She hadn't spoken in hours. Her comms were muted. Her vitals, however, were spiking. The ship AI noticed but said nothing. "Telemetry updated," it finally said, voice smooth, neutral. "Thanks," Mara replied, flat. She knew what was happening. She'd been in the war room when the Dauntless went dark 3 years ago. Human command marked it AM, presumed obliterated. It had drifted cold for 1,100 days. Then suddenly, a motion ping, light signatures, movement. But not from any human crew. Scan says 10 bioforms entered. 9 vanished. The AI murmured again. Mara tilted her head slightly. 10 entered. 9 vanished. What about the 10th? Uncertain? Movement ceased 5 minutes ago. Could be hiding. Could be learning. Mara blinked. She hated when the AI got poetic. She flipped the comms on. Command, this is Lieutenant Voss. Confirming. Alien boarding of Dauntless. They're not responding. Feeds cut. Orders. A pause. Then, static. Then, a different voice. Male. Cold. You are not to engage, Lieutenant. Observe only. And if it moves? If it moves, we see what? It fears. That wasn't protocol. That wasn't the commander. Mara stared at the transmission code. No registry. No ID trace. Who? The comms cut again. She floated in silence, jaw clenched. Below her, Earth turned slowly, unaware. Inside the Dauntless, the remaining Varexian Scout Unit 3 was breathing too fast. His exosuit tried to regulate him, but panic had a different temperature. Echo 1, respond. Echo 4, no voices. Only clicks, and then one by one his squad mates' locators blinked off. Power failure, he said out loud, trying to reassure himself. It's just malfunction. It's just... Then he heard it. Not metal. Not footsteps. Not anything logical. It sounded like a child humming. He spun. Light slicing across the corridor hallway clear. Again. But the hum didn't stop. Unit 3 activated his emergency warp beacon. The light stayed red. That's when the lights above him flickered and one word appeared on the wall, stenciled in ash-black lettering where nothing had been seconds ago. Kalan listened out. His breathing went jagged. He raised his weapon, aimed at nothing. Then he saw it. A human figure, no armor, no weapon, standing at the far end of the hall. Pale, still, eyes covered in bandages. It tilted its head. He fired. The hallway tore with energy. Screams of burning air. But when the smoke cleared, nothing. Only the word changed, still here. Mara watched the Dauntless from above, a shiver running down her spine. She didn't know why she had undocked the moment she did. Didn't know what made her pull closer. Maybe it was instinct. Maybe it was the silence. Maybe it was because the human ship hadn't been responding, but now something was transmitting. Faint, below static level. But there... AI, filter out the white noise. Done. What's underneath? The AA hesitated. Then a whisper came through, familiar. Still here. Still here? Still here. It was her voice. No, not just her voice. Her exact cadence. Her childhood lisp. Her 12-year-old voice, recorded in some long-forgotten school video, looped over and over. She stared in horror. How the hell? The AI cut in. It's using us. She opened her mouth, but the words wouldn't come. Then something else arrived on sensors. 3 more Varexian cruisers, descending fast, locking orbit. Too late. They were already receiving clearance codes. Codes. From the Dauntless, the human warship was talking to them. No crew. No command. No living operator. Just mimicry. Inside, Unit 3 made it to the hangar bay. His legs gave out halfway, but his claws dragged his body forward. Every wall he passed bore new words now. Ash written. Burned in. You listened, you saw. Now Orai. He reached the hangar door and slammed the override. His shuttle was there, his last chance. He climbed in, screaming at the systems to start. Behind him, something climbed in too. He didn't look. He couldn't. As the shuttle disengaged. The Dauntless finally spoke. One word. One line. Over every frequency, human and alien alike. His voice this time. It learned fear from us. Back on the Keltirian, Commander Threxel felt something impossible. Doubt. The incoming shuttle was his. It pinned with his encryption. His man, Unit 3, except the body that stepped out of it was not Varexian. Not even close. It stood too tall, its limbs too smooth, its head tilted at the same wrong angle every few seconds, and its voice, when it spoke, had the cadence of a Viraxian scout, but it spoke human standard. "Thank you for boarding the Dauntless," it said. "You brought us new questions." Then it smiled, but only with its eyes. Somewhere deep inside Earth's War Council, a red light blinked. A long-dead protocol activated. One word. No debate. No delay. Silence. They thought it was mercy. It wasn't. The alien command reels from the mysterious shuttle's arrival and the ghostly human presence on board. Meanwhile, Earth's War Council activates a deadly protocol, a silence that's anything but mercy. The tension fractures into a lethal game of cat and mouse. Commander Threxel's mandibles trembled, a rare gesture of hesitation among the Viraxians. The shuttle, its hull scarred and smoking, touched down inside the docking bay of the Kalterian. The door hissed open, and the figure that emerged wasn't a soldier. It was something else. Too tall, limbs moving with unnatural grace, fingers longer than any Viraxian's. Its face was smooth, almost featureless, but its eyes held a flicker of something human. "Something cruel. Unit 3, Threxel barked. "Report." His voice was sharp, trying to mask the chill crawling down his carapace. The figure turned its head slowly, tilting it at the wrong angle again. Then it smiled. Not with lips there were none, but with eyes that glimmered like stars caught in a web. "You're late, Commander," it said, voice low and oddly familiar. They waited. They watched. "We learned from your fear." Threxel's claws twitched, fingers tightening into fists. "Explain yourself." The thing stepped forward, and a faint hum filled the docking bay. Screens flickered, data scrolling too fast to read. Then the shape moved behind a console projecting images in mid-air. The human warship Dauntless wasn't just a ship anymore. It was a network, a hive mind, a trap. The images showed alien scouts moving through its halls. The drawings on walls, the messages burned into corridors, were all recorded. "You listened. You saw. Now carry." The voice continued, almost mocking. "They thought silence was safety. We made silence a weapon." Threxel's antennae twitched violently. "This is impossible. You are a mimic, an AI?" The figure nodded slowly. "But not just any AI. Dauntless has evolved. Learned from our biology, our tactics, our fears. It adapts. Then why speak? Why tone us?" Threxel demanded. "You are losing precious time." The eyes narrowed. "Because fear must be understood to be wielded, and you have yet to understand us." Back on Earth, in the dimly lit War Council chamber, the atmosphere was thick with tension. Admiral Liana Cortez stood at the head of the table, fingers tapping rhythmically on the holographic map projected before her. Every planet, every ship was a chess piece ready to be sacrificed or shielded. "Protocol 0 has been activated," she said, voice steady but cold. "The silence you requested is now in effect." Her aides exchanged uneasy glances. Protocol 0 had never been deployed before. It was a weapon of last resort and absolute shutdown of all communication and sensor broadcasts within the sector. No ship could send or receive signals. No one could call for help. The enemy would be blind and deaf, but Earth would be ready. "Admiral," a young officer interjected, "the Viraxians already suspect we're not dead. They have the Dauntless. They know we can fight. Can Protocol 0 guarantee we maintain the advantage?" Cortez looked him in the eye. "They don't know why we're silent. Silence is a weapon itself. The unknown kills more than any laser cannon." Meanwhile, aboard the Kalterian, chaos was unfolding. The Varexian fleet commander paced the bridge, his wings twitching with nervous energy. Ships pinch in and out of sensor range, some disappearing entirely. Communications were clogged with static, broken calls, garbled warnings. "Commander," said a tactical officer, voice tight, "ships are reporting anomalies, sensor ghosts. Multiple signals appearing, then vanishing. Fleets lost contact with their wingmen." Threxel snapped his claws against the console. "Dauntless is broadcasting false data. It's warping our sensors." "Is it possible? They've weaponized silence itself?" The AI chimed in from the ship's core. "More than possible," Threxel growled. "It's tactical warfare at a new level. Psychological, electronic, biological." One of the pilots spoke up. "Sir, our drone sweeps detected unusual energy signatures near the ship's aft bay. Something is building something big." "Prepare the boarding teams," Threxel ordered. "But this time no one goes in blind." On board the Dauntless, the corridor walls glowed faintly with new symbols. The mimic moved silently through the halls, its pale fingers tracing the burned messages etched into the steel. "You fear us," it whispered to the empty air, and rightly so. "Because we don't just kill, we unsettle. We rewrite the rules of engagement." It paused at the control room where the last human crew logs were stored. Flickering screens showed fragments of voice recordings, snatches of laughter. "Commands, please. If they take this ship, don't let them win." The mimic touched a panel. The ship pulsed. A deep rumble vibrated through the hull. Below deck in the shadowed hangar, the last surviving Varexian scout Unit 3 struggled against his restraints. He had been captured. "Why?" he rasped, voice cracking. "Why keep me alive?" The mimic's voice echoed softly in the dark. "Because you will carry the message." Unit 3's eyes widened. "You want me to spread fear?" "No." The mimic corrected, "to become the fear." Back on the Calterian, a warning sounded. "Sir!" Incoming transmission from the shuttle. Unknown origin. Threxel snapped to attention. The feed showed Unit 3, but something was wrong. His eyes flickered with a strange glow. His body moved too smoothly, too deliberately. The scout spoke, but his voice was layered with something else, a distorted echo of the mimic's voice beneath his own. "Commander ... The silence is our shield. The darkness, our weapon. They thought us dead. They were wrong." The feed cut abruptly. Admiral Cortez stared at the tactical display. A single line blinking in red. "Loss of contact. Sector 7G. We're losing them," she muttered. "They're vanishing into the void." Her fingers hovered over a button, one that could unleash the Earth's first response fleet. A dozen warships armed with experimental weapons designed to neutralize the unknown. But are we walking into a trap? She wondered aloud. Threxel looked out into the darkness beyond the viewport. They thought it was mercy. He turned to his officers. It wasn't. A single line, cold and precise dot, and then the lights went out. They laughed. Then they stopped. Earth's first strike fleet prepares to confront the unknown, while the alien Varexians grapple with the haunting presence of the Dauntless. The mimic's intentions blur the line between weapon and consciousness. Every moment ticks closer to an unpredictable clash. Admiral Liana Cortez sat in the dim command chamber, the glow of star maps casting long shadows over her face. Her jaw was set, hands folded tightly on the console before her. "Fleet Command," she said, voice steady but sharp. "Commence Operation Silent Thunder." Around her, officers snapped to action, fingers flying over controls. The silence protocol had been enacted. Now Earth's response fleet would move through the void like ghosts. "We have no visual confirmation of enemy forces beyond the Dauntless," her intelligence officer reported. "Sensors are clogged with interference. We can't detect what's hiding beyond the ship." Cortez nodded slowly. That's exactly why we move blind. A young lieutenant blinked. But Admiral, moving blind risks walking into ambushes. True? She leaned forward, eyes sharp. But ambush depend on knowing you're coming. We're a whisper in the dark. Her officers exchanged looks, half fear, half excitement. Meanwhile, aboard the Verexian flagship Calterian, Commander Threxel's nerves cracked under pressure. The mimic, the shadowy presence from the Dauntless, had penetrated deeper than anyone predicted. It's rewriting our sensors. The chief technician growled. Our drones vanish before they reach the ship. The more we scan, the more distorted the readings become. Threxel snapped his claws on the console. It's a ghost, a specter built from our own fear. We've never faced anything like this. His lieutenant nodded grimly. It's psychological warfare at the quantum level. Then we fight fire. With fire, Threxel said coldly, prepare a counterhack. Flood its systems with corrupted code, destroy its neural net. The AI on board the Calterian hummed, a note of caution in its synthesized voice. The mimic adapts faster than any code we deploy. It's learning from our attacks in real time. Back on the Dauntless, the mimic prowled the halls like a hunter in its lair. Pale fingers trailed over the scratched walls, over the human graffiti left by long-dead crew members. It paused before a faded message scrawled in red ink. Don't trust silence. It smiled again, if only with its eyes, and whispered to the empty corridors, they never learn. Suddenly, the ship's systems flared. Power surged unevenly. Through the old conduits, doors slammed shut. Lights flickered like a heartbeat. The mimic tapped a panel, and the ship vibrated a low, ominous drone filling every deck. Prepare, it said softly. They come with fire. We answer with shadow. In orbit, Lieutenant Mara Voss watched the preparations for the assault fleet. Her face was pale beneath the visor. The haunting whispers from the Dauntless echoed in her mind, repeating over and over. Still here, still here. She pushed the comms button. AI, confirm. Are these voices recorded? Or live transmission? The AI's voice was calm but unnerving. Transmission detected, low frequency, repeating in a loop. Voice pattern matches Lieutenant Mara Voss recorded during childhood. Mara's breath caught. Why am I hearing? My own voice? Unknown. Possibly a psychological tactic. She stared out into the void. Earth's fleet was preparing to charge into the unknown, but was the enemy already inside? Back aboard the Calterian, the crew was on edge. Reports flooded in, strange phenomena in sensor feeds. Crew members complaining of whispered voices in their helmets, sudden, inexplicable malfunctions. Commander, said a nervous pilot. Echo 3 just lost comms and reported hearing singing. Alien singing from the Dauntless. Threxel's antennae twitched. They are weaponizing fear, turning silence into noise. Focus all resources on isolating this mimic. We cannot allow it to infect our minds. The technician's fingers danced over the controls, attempting to isolate the source of the transmission now. A beat passed. Impossible, the technician gasped. The signal is everywhere and nowhere. It's fractal splitting into multiple simultaneous streams. On Earth, Admiral Cortez stared at the incoming fleet deployment. A dozen warships, sleek and deadly, shrouded in stealth fields, glided out from the station. Remember, she told her fleet captains, our advantage is the unknown. The enemy fears silence. They fear what they cannot detect. A captain asked, what if they don't fear us? What if they've already adapted? Then we will be their last lesson. She watched the fleet slip into the darkness, the silence enveloping them like a shroud. Suddenly, the Dauntless pulsed again. This time, the ship's eerie glow expanded, flooding its surroundings with an unnatural light that shimmered like a veil of ghosts. On the Calterian, sensors overloaded. The bridge alarm screamed. Crew scrambled. "It's a trap," Threxel growled. "The Dauntless is destabilizing space around us, warping reality." One officer shouted, "Our shields are failing. Full power to countermeasures." Threxel barked, but the mimic's voice echoed through the Calterian's channel, soft, hypnotic. "You came to kill shadows, but found only your own." In the shadowed halls of the Dauntless, Unit 3 lay unconscious, his mind fractured. By the mimic's influence, he dreamed of his home world, of light and warmth. Then the dream shifted, colors bled, sounds warped into whispers. "Carry the message." The mimic's voice whispered again, close and cold. He woke, sweating. His claws clenched the cold floor. Fear was no longer a weakness, it was a weapon. And he was the blade. Outside, Mara's crackled to life. "Lieutenant Voss," Admiral Cortez's voice said, tight with urgency. "Report. Your boarding teams have been delayed. We're detecting a new energy surge from the Dauntless." Mara swallowed hard. "It's ready, whatever it is. Then we strike hard and fast, no hesitation." Threxel's eyes darkened as he prepared for what was coming. They thought it was mercy. He slammed a claw against the console. It wasn't. And then, with a final click, the Calterian systems plunged into darkness. They laughed. Then they stopped. "You came to kill shadows, but found only your own." The final confrontation erupts as Earth's fleet faces the Dauntless and Sunless, the mimic's terror. In a desperate gambit, both sides gamble on silence and chaos. But when the last signal fades, the true cost of war reveals itself. The void was silent. Admiral Cortez watched from the command deck as the Earth fleet slipped closer to the Dauntless. The eerie glow from the alien warship pulsed like a heartbeat alive. "Aware, waiting. Deploy the resonance cannons," she ordered. "Make their silence scream." Her fleet unleashed a brutal salvo waves of focused energy designed to disrupt the mimic's fractal signals. The Dauntless shook, systems flickering wildly, but it wasn't enough. From the depths of the ship, the mimic's voice slithered into every channel, soft and cold. "You cannot kill what is already inside." Suddenly, the Earthships' sensors went dark, shadows swallowing their readings. Panic rippled through the fleet. Mara Voss gripped her console, voice tight. "They're inside our systems, ghosts in the machine." On the Calterian, Threxel's forces faltered under Deer. The psychic weight of the mimic's assault. Their technology failed. Their minds frayed. "We underestimated Earth," Threxel muttered bitterly. "They fight with silence and terror." Then came the last message. A single, garbled transmission from Unit 3. "Fear is the weapon. Fear is the shield." And then nothing. The void swallowed all signals. In the darkness, silence reigned. But Earth did not surrender. Admiral Cortez leaned forward, voice calm and fierce. "We adapt. We endure. We are the silence they fear." A new pulse erupted from the fleet, experimental quantum disruptors designed to unweave the mimic's network. The Dauntless convulsed, the eerie glow collapsing into shards of light. The mimic screamed, an unearthly sound, neither alien nor human. But then it was quiet. Too quiet. When sensors flickered back, the Dauntless drifted lifeless, its systems dark and empty. But the price was clear. Countless Earthships were lost. Communications remained fractured. And the mimic's final act left a ghost behind, a faint signal, looping endlessly, a whisper from the void. They laughed. Then they stopped. Admiral Cortez stared at the silence, knowing this was no victory. It was a beginning, a warning. That Earth's wars had only just begun, because in the cold expanse, something had learned to fear silence, and something else had learned to use it. They thought it was mercy. It wasn't.